The other thing is something that you may not have picked up unless you work in PT Ops, and that is the threat of privatisation. And Mark alluded to privatisation and set me up to cover it somewhat. Do we understand why privatisation is bad? It's a very basic question, but I just want to elaborate on it a bit. Privatisation is bad because we work in the public service, and our role is to provide a service to the public. We do so, we do not make profit out of it, we provide the service with the resources, that's people, time and money that we have. We don't have to be making any money out of doing so, we just have to provide the service as best as we can. Private companies need to make profit because they are beholden to their directors and to their shareholders, and shareholders will want dividend payments and directors will want bigger bonuses and bigger pay. So the minute you start making a public service a private enterprise, it is there to run money. And if you don't believe me, you want a very simple example, take a look at your gas bill. That's going to go up again because it's not the cost of gas that's going up, it's that the shareholders and directors want more money. And take a look at your train fares. And I'm fairly sure that if we say British Rail, with all the faults that British Rail had, you wouldn't be paying an arm and a nose to travel short distances on the train at peak time. So look at those two examples about how much the cost of something has gone up. So with that in mind, we know the colour of the government we've got, and we know they like privatisation, and we know they like private enterprise, and we know they don't like the public service. In HMRC, they've announced they're going to run a privatisation trial in contact centres. You don't have a contact centre here, so why should that affect you? And that's what I want to explain. What they want to do is they want to bring 200 people into 2 contact centres in the north of England and the south of Scotland. Those people will be working to the same terms and conditions that we do, and the same agreements we have in contact centres that they do there. They will be separated away from everybody else, so they'll be put in a boarded off area within a contact centre. And they are being paid for the amount of time they answer calls, which isn't what our contact centre members currently are paid for. They are paid to do a 7-hour, 24-day or whatever their contract says. And within that, we have negotiated rest periods for them, we've negotiated proper breaks for them, we've negotiated the legal health and safety requirements for display screen equipment, and if you work with computers you know what that means. We've negotiated investment time for them, which allows them to look at the intranet, to upskill their learning, to be involved in staff surveys and all of those things. These people coming in on the private contracts are getting none of that. Their job is to answer a call, write the report, answer a call, write the report, answer a call, write the report, every day, every week, for as long as they're here. Now, if this trial is successful and we sell our contact centres to a bidder, that is what our members in contact centres can look forward to. That is their lot. That clearly is not what they want. But there's a knock-on effect because we now have this new PT Ops organisation which put together customer contact and custops. So we now have PT Ops. One of the things they wanted to do was, in peak periods of contact centres, was to take people in custops off of the processing work and to put them on the telephones to deal with some of the calls coming in. And similarly, when there's a trough in contact centres and there's a backlog in custops, to move some of the people off the telephones to get them to be processing work. There are some difficulties around that about people not wanting to answer telephones, but what it does do, it underpins jobs. We are looking at more jobs coming out of this department, we are looking at more people put in the redeployment pool, we're looking at offices closing. Well, there's work there for these people to do. Yet, at the same time, they're saying this is a good idea. The department now wants to privatise a chunk of that work, which is a chunk of work which could have been done by 200 people currently working in custops, who may be working in an office that's being closed, maybe in the redeployment pool, maybe looking at redundancy in place. So there are some real big issues there. We've been balloting members in PT Ops for that, and if you're in PT Ops, I hope that A, you voted, and I hope you voted in favour of taking some action. Again on the 21st, the GEC will be discussing that and about how we take it forward. But it is quite clear that the minute we let privateers into this department, it's going to open up for everybody else. I've always said, for those of you that came to your AGM a couple of years ago when I spoke about privatisation, I said it'll come into contact centres, and if they get it through there, it'll come to everybody else. Because pretty much everything we can do, they think can be done outside. There are 1 or 2 exceptions, but generally, the processing of work, the collection of tax, they will quite happily sell that off to a bidder. And the scary thing from society's point of view is, we know, because we work here, just how well our private contracts work. Makeley, for example. Do I need to say more? So we are looking at putting something in the hands of somebody that got no skill in collecting tax, employing people that probably won't have signed the Official Secrets Act, won't be signing up to Departmental Data Security, and they will be answering telephone calls from people from the public going into their in-depth tax affairs without knowing any of the bigger scope of things. And the people in contact centre, whilst they may be experts in a specific line of taxation, are able to talk about the other things because they've been trained to do so. So it's a dumbing down of the service. It'll be done for profit. The people working in there will be getting paid less, and Mark was quite correct. If they do want to take chunks of our staff over to the private sector, we are protected by something called TUPE. But if they're going to have to be paying out cheaper pensions, if they can get rid of us cheaper on redundancy because our compensation scheme has been taken apart, it makes it all that much more juicy for people to come in and make money off the back of the jobs that we do. So we'll be looking at taking a decision on Monday about the privatisation. I would suspect again we'll be looking at walkouts. We may do it at the same time as the attendance management dispute to make life a little bit easier. But again, it's a case of we need to be supporting those members in PTOPs who are looking to be facing some real big hardships as the months progress. But we do need to fight privatisation, not just in HMRC, but across the public sector. I was watching something on one of the silly satellite channels I flick through occasionally, and there was a female comedian on there last night who come from Bethnal Green but was living in Los Angeles. And she was saying in a jokey comedic kind of way that if she was run over in Los Angeles and a leg was taken off, she would actually put the leg in ice, stick it on a BA flight and bring it home and get a health treatment here, because a cost of a room in America was something like £15,000 a night in the hospital she went to. How can people in this country afford that if we go down the line of having private hospitals? How can you get the kids to school if we go down the line of academy schools and private schools? How are you going to pay for your bin collection if they want to privatise bits of the council? So it's all about making money for the few at the very top of the financial food chain at the expense of the majority of people at our level who don't earn great wages, maybe don't have a great standard of living when it comes to disposable income, but we're the ones that are expected to pay so they can continue to do what they do with the inordinate amounts of money we never